Servers at restaurants? What's the strangest thing someone's asked for? I was working a quiet Saturday afternoon shift at the restaurant, and the first couple to be seated that day caught my attention. They brought their own tea set, a delicate porcelain affair with gold trim, and seemed oddly formal even as they settled in. The man, tall and serious looking, asked me if I had a few minutes to learn a few things. Since they were the second table of the day, I nodded and followed along, curious. He set down the tea set and began showing me a very particular method of steeping and pouring the tea over a sugar cube. He had me practice with just water at first, demonstrating the exact angle, the slight tilt of the cup, the gentle pour. I repeated it a few times until he seemed satisfied. The whole thing was peculiar, but also kind of neat, like stepping into some old-world ritual I'd never known existed. After the lesson, he asked if I would mind serving them their tea this very specific way. I agreed, and he watched silently as I carried the hot water and porcelain pot from the kitchen to their table. I poured the tea exactly as he had shown me, carefully over the sugar cubes in each cup. He nodded ever so slightly, a subtle look of approval, and returned to his seat without another word. His wife smiled softly, clearly enjoying the process. Once their tea was ready, I refilled their cups when needed, always following the method exactly. The man also requested that I keep his wife's water glass full at all times. It was clear that this table was going to be a bit unusual, but I treated it like any other service opportunity. The first time I refilled her water glass and asked if they needed anything else, he handed me $20 without a word and turned back to his conversation. The gesture repeated itself a couple more times during the afternoon. By the end of their meal, they left what I initially thought was no tip, but later realized was a total of $60. Beyond the money, the lesson itself felt like a reward. About an hour later, my manager came over with an envelope. Inside was $100, a handwritten note thanking me, and a business card. Apparently, they had made a point to leave instructions that they only wanted to dine when I was working. They explained that many fine dining establishments had attempted to accommodate their requests, but I was the only server who followed the instructions graciously and precisely. After that first visit, the couple's demeanor became a pattern. They treated me almost as if I were invisible. They didn't engage in small talk, didn't make casual remarks, and never tipped in person, yet they were consistently generous behind the scenes. Every return visit followed the same routine, the same precise tea preparation, the same subtle acknowledgement from the man, the same quiet satisfaction from his wife. To someone unaware of the arrangement, they could easily be mistaken for cold or distant, but the gestures and rewards made the truth unmistakable. I began anticipating their visits, feeling a mix of nervousness and excitement. Serving them was like performing a small, delicate ceremony. Each pour of tea, each refill of water, had a rhythm, a precision that demanded focus and respect. Their presence changed the pace of the shift, forcing me to slow down, observe carefully, and act with exactness. It became almost meditative, an unusual but welcome break from the chaos of a typical service day. Over time, I realized that this strange, meticulous routine left an impression beyond the restaurant. I remembered every detail of how the tea was served, how the sugar cubes caught the light, how the porcelain clinked softly against the saucers. Their quiet intensity and the trust they placed in me, even without overt acknowledgement, created a sense of responsibility that was both intimidating and rewarding. When they finally left after their last visit of the season, the envelope and note once again waiting for me through my manager, I felt a sense of satisfaction that went beyond the monetary reward. The lesson, the careful attention, the quiet approval, it was memorable in a way few other tables ever were. They had transformed a simple service of tea into an experience, one that I would carry with me long after the cups were washed and put away. The entire encounter was odd, precise, and almost surreal, but it left a lasting impression. It was proof that sometimes the smallest details and quietest moments can become the most unforgettable memories of working in service.